coming to you live from the heart of the free state of New Hampshire. This is The Independence with Carla Gericke. And now, here's your host, Carla Gericke.
Hi, guys, and welcome to The Independence. It is a delight to be streaming to you live from the Quill. We put in this fabulous podcast studio, and since it's the new year, we'll be trying new things. So thank you to everyone who is joining me tonight. We'll be doing this on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but we're iterating as we go, so who knows? But here we are today. As it is, I have to give you a fasting warning. I've already been told that I need to talk a little slower, so I'm going to try and do that for you guys. What can you expect tonight on The Independence? We will be talking a little bit, since it is the start of the year, about some healthy choices we can make with our neurotransmitters. So kind of trying to match your neurotransmitters to your activities so that you can get your own natural highs. We will also be talking about the 250th year anniversary of the state of New Hampshire. So happy birthday, New Hampshire. And the AFP is going to be having an event for that tomorrow evening. So I'll give you the details for that as well. And then bills. I'm not going to dive into the bills today, but I do want you to know that it is going to get crazy busy fast. There are over 1,400 bills up at the State House for this session. Every bill gets a hearing. The bills they don't want us to pass get hearings faster. So a lot of my bills will be coming up in the next week or two. And then last but not least, we'll cover a little bit of just what is going on this week in the Free State. And the idea with these shows is going to be, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of stuff happening, and I want to make sure that you as an activist, as a mover, as a newcomer, as a native, a Granite Stater, a Free Stater, someone who wants to contribute to creating the best and freest place on earth, so that you know where to go and what to do. So here we are for the inaugural formal edition of The Independence, and I'm so happy you're all here with me. So starting with just a little bit of history. So I think this year is going to be a history forward year because it's been 250 years since the birth of the nation of America itself, but New Hampshire was actually early. And it's one of those things where, you know, we're always New Hampshire first, in the sense that sometimes we do things before other people have ever even thought about it. So New Hampshire actually adopted its constitution 6 whole months before any of the other states, or even before the Declaration of Independence. So in January of 1776, New Hampshire became the first colony to establish its own independent government. And this basically kind of set the tone for what we're doing here in New Hampshire, and really indicates as another bold example that liberty is defined here in New Hampshire. And of course, liberty is defined here in New Hampshire because it's home to the Free State. What is the Free State? We are a movement of thousands upon thousands of people who have come to New Hampshire to call New Hampshire home. We are also this year launching a Everyone's a Free Stater Now kind of campaign. That's not the official name for it. But basically, we are saying, hey, if you're a native Granite Stater and you like the ideas and the ideals and the values that we espouse, which is really limited government and personal responsibility, i.e., if we take care of our own business, if we mind our own business, if we take care of ourselves, our friends, our community, our clans, our tribes, and so on, then we don't have to have such a big authoritarian government with their hands in our pockets and their nosiness all around our lives. So tomorrow evening, mark your calendars for a dive into New Hampshire history. There'll be fun interactive tables and activities. It's in a tavern. It's sounds like it's going to be a really fun evening. You could get a tricorn hat, and who doesn't want a tricorn hat? And you will be able to sign a new Declaration of New Hampshire Independence on a board there. So when is that happening? That is happening tomorrow on Tuesday, January 6th. From 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And it's at Zorvino Vineyards in Sandown. The speakers will include AFP's Regional Director, Greg Moore, Majority Leader Jason Osborne, who, side note, has just been announced as one of our Liberty Forum featured speakers. So that'll be really exciting to hear from him at Liberty Forum in March. Speaker Sherm Packard will be there tomorrow. Former Speaker of the House Bill O'Brien will be there. So invite your family and friends and come out tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. in Sandown at Zorvino Vineyards for a celebration of our state's birthday. And I gotta say, man, for 250 years old, New Hampshire's looking really good, because the reality is liberty is going down everywhere else in the world. And yet here in New Hampshire, because of our concentration strategy, liberty is actually expanding in New Hampshire, and that is exciting to see. If you want to sign up and RSVP for this event, go to afpnh.net/NH250. Again, AFPNH, so that's Americans for Prosperity New Hampshire, afpnh.net/NH250. And I hope to see a bunch of you out there tomorrow. I'd be remiss if I don't mention, actually, it's a Monday night in the Free State. And for folks who don't live in New Hampshire yet, who are curious about what we're doing, here's like just a short reality of my own situation. So we're launching this podcast. We had some time clocks and counting down and figuring out the technology, making sure we're streaming right, doing all those great things. And in that time, I realized, tonight at the Independence Inn, there is Manumissions being hosted by Dennis Pratt, who is one of the great leaders here in the state. That is where people gather and they talk about what their most recent project is, or something they're passionate about, something they want to get other people involved with as well. Also, as we were going live on X, I saw Aaron Day is kind of floating and asking, should he run for Senate? And he's live online right now talking about that. My point is, there are so many Free Staters doing so many interesting things that you should come check out what we are up to. And if you haven't signed up for the Free State Project's newsletters and information, we just did an overhaul of the website, fsp.org. I'll tell you a little bit about other events coming up this week, but you can always go to the website, fsp.org/calendar, to find out more about that. So now let's talk a little bit about Liberty Forum. Have you got your Liberty Forum tickets yet? Do I have my Liberty Forum tickets yet? No. So what am I going to do after this show? I'm going to go home and make sure that I do sign up for that. So we're excited to announce this week that House Majority Leader Jason Osborne will join us as one of the main stage speakers. So that's super exciting. And some of the lineup that is actually going to be happening there with Liberty Forum is where our theme is kind of like build freedom, right? Build liberty. And we're looking for builders because you know what? Complainers are a dime a dozen. You know what? It's actually really easy to sit around and just pundit or complain or whine or, but it's harder, but also much, much, much more rewarding to actually come build. And so the theme this year for Liberty Forum is, how can we build more things? So you can use the discount code PORCPOST, that's PORCPOST, to save 5% on your Liberty Forum tickets. The ticket price did not go up over last year, but we all know inflation went up. So we're doing you a favor, but that also means we aren't going to do those super, super deep discounts that you may have seen in the past. So use the discount code PORCPOST to save 5% on your tickets. There are going to be 2 tracks, very similar to what it was last year. So we're going to have the main stage events. That'll be the Build Freedom main stage series. And these are mostly short form talks and panels. And that's really more for the large audience, right? Like the big room. And then and the smaller breakout rooms, we're going to be doing the Liberty in Practice Dialogue series. And this is basically where, you as a presenter, and I'll be presenting as well. This year, I did one last year. It was really cool format, more interactive. It's not just someone speaking at you, but actually the speaker comes in and they say, hey, I've got this idea. You talk for about 20 minutes. And then it's actually a group session where people go around. We make sure everyone is actually like talking into the mic so that we can record it and do podcasts afterwards. But the idea is to really create a dialogue. And honestly, that's kind of my goal for this year as well. My New Year's resolution is to listen, which, I am an active listener, but I'm also, if I'm honest with myself and with you guys, I am someone who often is kind of waiting to say something. And in my defense, it's usually because I'm about to lose my train of thought. And so I want to get it out. But these dialogue series are a way for us all to communicate, to have those conversations, to sometimes have those harder conversations. Last year, I forget actually what I talked about. I remember yelling actively about the patriarchy for some reason. It's the only thing I can remember about that one. And then for this year, Jason Sorens, of course, the founder of the Free State Project, had he's sort of spearheading that track at Liberty Forum. And he had asked me, what do I want to do? And in the spirit of listening, I asked him what he thought I should do, because I wanted to see, what he might say. And he gave me some really good options, including, amongst other things, how good a job has Maha done with sort of libertarian talking, things we wanted. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll do that one. But then I got this bee in my bonnet, which was maybe we should decide as a group, as attendees at Liberty Forum and Granite Staters, Free Staters at large, maybe we should be talking about what should we be measuring in New Hampshire. So side quest for 2 secs. We had a party here at the Quill for New Year's Eve. And then, I was talking to some people and everyone was like talking about federal stuff. And yes, we may possibly be heading into war again. Please, please, please don't do that. No one should be supporting bombing Venezuela. It's a war for resources. Again, we've seen this drill. We know this story. Stick to your principles. We are anti-war. Don't get swept up in the propaganda. but people were kind of talking about a lot of federal stuff and national stuff and international stuff. And I got kind of mad, and I was like, everyone in this room should know everything about New Hampshire, because this is our home and this is where we have concentrated to make changes. And if you like have a sense of, I don't know what's going on in DC, but you don't know how the New Hampshire budget works, or you don't know how you can contribute to organizations, or if you don't know why your property taxes went up significantly this year, or perhaps if you live in Manchester, your water bill is doubled, and you might be like, oh, why did that happen? Was it the microplastics in the water, or did they break the sewage pipe, or whatever, right? So we should be concentrating and measuring things in New Hampshire to determine and make those changes on the local level. One of my sort of words or drives or things I want to accomplish this year is I decided, my main word is broadcast. And it's not just because I'm abroad and I'm casting out, but also because I want to start to invite other voices, other free staters. There's so many brilliant, smart people to also come raise their voices, and for us all together to start to broadcast almost like a platform. And that's going to be an iterative process. But I also want to focus, for me personally, on hyper-localism, because I've been here for almost 20 years now. I moved in 2008 during a blizzard. Do not recommend. But, you come when you can, and you stick it out, because one of the beautiful things about the Free State Project model is it's actually intentional in a way that can give a lot of purpose to your life. And I'm speaking sort of stoically, or for people who really want to have a way or a benchmark to measure whether their life contributions are making a change. And by seeing Liberty expand here in New Hampshire, of course, I know that's happening. And so I've kind of gone from statewide to the State House for a while. Then 10 years ago, I bought my house here on the west side of Manchester. The Quill's been here for almost 15, 16 years, I'm guessing. And so, we walk the parks on this side of the river and all of that. So the hyper-localism is, I need to understand exactly what's going on in my neighborhood. And I encourage everyone to take that mindset and to take it to your neighborhood. We have our work cut out for us, guys. The property taxes went up because the schools are siphoning off so much money. And because we created this EFA track, the Education Freedom Accounts track, the budget actually is now paying for the education freedom, which we do want, right? Charter schools, more homeschooling, more freedom, the money follows the children. But to compromise, they never started to reduce the funds going to the failing public schools, even though enrollment has actually dropped with over 30%. And so we're kind of paying double, and that paying double is being pushed down to us as property owners. And if you're a renter, getting pushed down to you too. Don't be fooled. There's no such thing as a free lunch. So I encourage everyone to think about hyperlocalism as part of what you will be doing this year. So I suggested to Jason, maybe I would make my talk on what should we be measuring. I might even make my talk on what is a free stater. I kind of feel like maybe we should be creating, and this would go back to measuring, so maybe it's the marrying of the two ideas. But what is a free stater? Maybe maybe we're like, every free stater should be running a Tor node. Maybe it's like every free stater who has a yard should have a chicken. So more of those discussions and dialogues. But get your Liberty Forum tickets now, and come out and come see and come contribute and come join the dialogue. And of course, Jason Osborne moved round about the same time as I did. We were all old friends hanging around the bonfire at Porkfest. And it does sound little sneak peek, but nothing confirmed. Nothing's been signed or written or anything. But it looks like we might have found a space or a home for Porkfest for this year. So I will be updating you guys on that soon. A couple of other things that were in the newsletter. And again, if you're not getting the newsletter, go to fsp.org and sign up for that. They're doing a really good job. We excitingly met our patrons. I don't know what the word is, benchmark. That doesn't KPI. It doesn't sound sexy. But basically, Eric had said, hey guys, I think I can get us 280 Porcupine patrons by the end of the year. That was sort of one of these KPIs for the year. And he met and exceeded that. What is a Porcupine patron? For as little, and honestly, everyone should be contributing a little more than this, but for $10 a month, so $120 a year, you can become a patron. You get some extra perks at events, a VIP room, you get a cute little pin. There's fun stuff to be done with it. So shout out and kudos to Eric for meeting that benchmark. That's the word I was looking for. And, I just wanted to this little blurb about our volunteers as well. So in December, in case you didn't make it, we always have a really fun, special event for our FSP volunteers. So Free Staters, the Free State Project has 2 or 3 paid staff members, but mostly we run on people power. And so at the end of the year, we like to acknowledge that. And I thought this was just a cool little description, right? So at the FSP, our job is fishing for people, those who share liberty values and want to live free. And here's exactly how we do it. The more people learn, the more they connect. The more people connect, the more they visit. The more people visit, the more they want to move. The more people move, the more they build. The more people build, the faster liberty wins. So keep that in mind, right? So we have always run on bootstraps. Like we've run on a really, really small budget, which is comical because the enemies of liberty go around the state of New Hampshire and they're constantly like, they're funded by billionaires. And it's like, no, we wish, but we are not. So please, if you're watching this, consider signing up as a Porcupine patron. We'd love to have you. There's a special little Signal group. You get little insider scoops from time to time, like a link to this first podcast. And we'd love to see that number grow. One of the advantages of the patrons program is if we can figure out that we have, enough people donating at a base level, that frees Eric's time to go do more important things than simply fundraising in order to pay his salary. He's got mad skills, 3-term former, Maine senator. And he's got to go pull those people from Maine down here to New Hampshire. So please do go on the website and sign up for that. All right. So then we have a few events that are recurring that come up every month. And so I just wanted to remind people we have a New Movers potluck party in various regions in New Hampshire. So here in Manchester at the Quill, of course, the oldest clubhouse that we do have. It is always on the first Friday of the month. It's a potluck. We just got off it this year. It was a really banger start to the year. That was great. We had lots of food that people brought. Everyone cooked. Everyone was excited. Good group of people. 3 or 4 people that were here for the first time. That's always exciting. In the Upper Valley, the potluck is on the first Saturday of the month. That is over at the Bardo Farm. Seacoast, it's on the 3rd Sunday. In the North Country, it's on the third Saturday. And go look at the calendar. There's so many local meetups. There's so many things going on. If you're like just a crypto nerd, we got you covered. There's something for everyone. fsp.org/calendar. All right. So then, if you missed last week's Porcupine Report, I would highly recommend you go look at that. That one was with Rhainita Sussman, a fairly recent mover. She's been here probably for about 2 years, I'm guessing. Came from LA, very mad skills, and she's making these little docu-series episodes about Free Staters, about what we're doing here, about your life here in the Free State. And so Eric sat down with her last week to talk about that. There's some great clips in it. And it's just really cool to hear someone's story of how they came. Why is it important, and why am I inviting everyone watching this to come do a mover story with me or come record your own story? Let's capture our history. It's because you never, ever, ever know who's going to hear your story, and that your story is going to resonate with that person. I'll tell you a quick one. So Chris Lawless, who was known as Ron Paul's frigging giant, back in the day, this was the 2008 campaign. He moved to New Hampshire because he was at a movie. He was at a movie in LA, and he had a friend who was at a movie in LA, and someone handed him a Free State Project flyer. And the guy looked at it and he was like, oh, this is not for me, but actually I have a guy at the office that this sounds like up his alley. And he gave Chris Lawless the flyer, and Chris Lawless came here, moved here, organized Liberty Forum for a long time. And so again, you never know who you're going to reach, and you never know who is going to resonate with your story. Also coming up next month on the 3rd of February is Porcupine Day. And Porcupine Day, it'll be our 10th anniversary, and it'll be at Bedford Tap Room in Murphy's Tap Room in Bedford. It is on a Tap Room Tuesday, so we can kind of rope in everyone who would be there for that anyway. We're still figuring out the details, and tickets will be on sale by the end of the week. But mark your calendars right now for the 3rd of February. That is a Tuesday. And maybe next week's, I will give you guys a little bit of the lowdown on how all of that came about. I will also say that I sent a email to the handler for Edward Snowden that I worked with 10 years ago in order to have him keynote Liberty Forum in 2016 when we triggered the move. And I thought, I'm going to do a Hail Mary. I'm going to send this email. We'll see. Probably won't even hear back. It's been a long time. And I did hear back from my contact, and he unfortunately isn't working directly with Ed anymore, but he did pass it on to someone who is. So you never know. I always say nothing ventured, nothing gained. So perhaps we will have a good surprise at Porcupine Day next month. All right, what else can I tell you guys before we end here? Here's some just random news from the Free State. From WGME, the headline was, New Hampshire to end annual inspection stickers in January. We were apparently hit by a 2.1 magnitude earthquake. So I guess when I felt like my earth was shaking, perhaps it was. And then from the Seacoast Online, New Hampshire's anti-sanctuary city laws go into effect on January 1st. All right, then if you're subscribed to the newsletter, you will know that you get a day-by-day, play-by-play of what's upcoming this week. I'm not going to go through all of that because fasting, slowing, but just a few highlights tonight at 6 to, it's probably too late, but if you're watching this live and you're close to Smoke Shop in Londonderry, they are doing their cigar night tonight. There is also, as I mentioned, Dennis Pratt's Manumissions tonight. Coming up tomorrow, Tap Room in Bedford, 4 to 8. There's a men's circle in Henniker. There is, of course, this big Sandown 250-year birthday celebration for the state of New Hampshire. So I will be at that one. And then from there, there's things Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's shooting. There's a potluck. There's a community circle. There's knitting. There's shoot with the girls only for people. So lots and lots and lots and lots going on. I want to sort of wrap up here with two things. Reminder, fsp.org/calendar, where you can actually click on every day. You can see what's happening. You can see what's going on and find out what is happening in your region. And you guys are spoiled and you should be showing up for everything because back in the day, we would drive 2 hours just to go meet up with like 4 other people because we were so excited that there were these like-minded people that we could hang out with. And now there's so many of us that, not only do we have different sort of clans, we have different regions. And, sometimes in the winter, you don't want to drive 2 hours. So luckily, there's probably something happening right there in your neck of the woods. There are bills that are coming up, and NHLA does incredible work. They just yesterday did another bill testifying training, bill review training. You can go to their website and also support them, NH Liberty Alliance. It might be nhliberty.org, but NH Liberty Alliance will get you there. So one of the mistakes I made when I originally moved is, it's the holiday season, so basically December for someone like me who's been here a long time and is fairly social, it's just party. And even though I don't drink anymore, that affects my sleep. So it's been a lot. Then we traveled, we were up in Canada, Quebec City, Montreal, came back, then it was like New Year. So it's been go. So initially, actually, today, I was just like, man, can I just take the day off? And then I was like, Carla, you learned from those MLXs, my living experiments, where for 365 days straight, I did an X Live, which Grok told me I'm insane because I'm apparently the only person who's ever done that who isn't a gamer. So I am working on a book for that. But I thought, just take the day off. And then I was like, no, if you're going to do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday, let's just start with it and let's keep let's figure out the stuff. I'm so grateful to my producer, Alex. He's just, he's really wonderful with the tech. So I've just kind of been like, oh, wow, this seems way more seamless than when I have to do it. But the reason I'm mentioning that is because in past years, kind of getting tired going through the holiday season, the new year, you set your expectations, and we'll wrap up in a second here with some recommendations on how to excite your neurotransmitters with good stuff. But it was like, oh, wait. Bills. Why am I saying this? Because what I'm telling you guys is it hits the ground running about a week from now up at the State House. And note, the House committee meetings have moved to a new location. It'll be at 1 Granite Place in Concord. But I want to mention, because I have several bills that I'm shepherding and working with, both with my role with Right to Know New Hampshire, where I now serve as the president there. Most of those are sort of technical and not that sexy, but there is one that has to do with police body cams that we're trying to expand when they have to actually disclose those, because currently they're not legally required to actually give you the footage, even if you're the person in it, unless there was excessive use of force or you've been charged with a felony. But I've also put in some independence bills, because you can't be independent if you're not for independence. And I just saw that is House Bill 1441, and it and what we're doing is we're bringing back the study committee bill that we put in last year or perhaps the year before, and it is basically to establish a commission to study the economic, legal, and sociological aspects of New Hampshire exerting its sovereign states' rights. So this really is where we would get into the nitty-gritty of the questions I so often hear, which is, Carla, but if we were our own country, could we still get our Social Security? My position is yes, a lot of expats in Mexico still get their Social Security. Carla, would I need a passport to go to Maine? I'm not sure. Let's form a study committee and let's see what we need to do to make it feasible. Now, I know first of all, not everyone who's a Free Stater is a pro-independence person. I personally am. It's part of the reason I moved here. I don't think the federal government can be reformed. I don't think it matters who's in there, because Trump is just doing what Bush did, what Obama did, what they all do, which is serve their masters, and they are not serving the American public. So I do believe New Hampshire would be better off as its own small independent country, be like 4 times the population of Iceland. We have enough space. Maybe, we look at Maine and we go, do you guys want to come with us? But these are the questions that we can get answered if we can start to treat the issue seriously, which we're going to have to do, because you know what? The federal debt is out of control and they're going to have to do something. And I think when they have to do something at that moment, we should at least be prepared. My Oma, my grandma, always used to say, proper preparation prevents poor performance. And it's true. So let's prepare properly. So this bill 1441 will be coming up on the 7th. So that's a couple of days from now. And it's just coming up to be introduced. I don't think it's testimony yet, but if it is, I will holler, and I hope you guys will come out. And it's being referred to the State Federal Relations and Veterans Affairs. And Glenn Bailey, very generously, thank you, Glenn, sponsored this for me and put it in. And we're going to make a little bit of hay with the topic. I also would be remiss not to remind people, if you are watching this and you have not signed the petition for Ian Freeman, please go to freeian.org and sign the petition. There is a push at the moment with Trump to see about getting some pardons. I think the timing will probably be closer to the midterms, but much like the Samurai Wallet guys, Keon, there is a push to take the people who are caught up in Biden's sort of war against crypto and see if we can leverage votes from the libertarian sort of side to Trump or to JD, I guess it would be at that stage, to get our friends out of prison for the crime of private money that isn't being diluted day by day. All right, so that is pretty much it, but I want to leave everyone with a few little just tips and tricks. I was talking to my producer before I came online, and I mentioned, one of my resolutions is sort of to get a little fitter. I'm not one of those crazy, I got to make spreadsheets about everything people, but I do try to come up with habits, which is just things you do routinely, time and time again, so that it becomes part of your life. And for me, Liberty in New Hampshire is a lifestyle. And so I'm constantly looking for sort of hacks that I can just incorporate, whether it's, starting with cold therapy in a sense where now years later, I just do a cold shower every day. It's really great for your immune system. It's either going to help with longevity and anti-aging, or it's just going to kill me dead in the shower one day. But I saw a clip earlier today on Instagram that sort of broke down good habits or things that you could incorporate in your life according to their neurotransmitters. And so I'm going to kind of explain that quickly, and then I'm going to wrap it up with some thoughts on panic juice. So for dopamine, which of course is your motivation molecule, there are easy things you can do to ratchet up your dopamine naturally. It's things like being bored, chasing goals, reading books, putting your phone away, taking cold showers that will give you a dopamine hit of some sort. Cleaning your house is actually a great way to get a little dopamine high. Lifting weights and eating protein. So this morning I was like, I got to start hanging again off the bar. And then I found my 10-pound ball and I was like bouncing that around, and I could feel it makes you feel great. So, don't discount it and just take those little things. And also when you're doing it, remind yourself you're doing something good for yourself. I mean, you could actually read a book and then be like, I read a book, right? And that's that feedback loop as well. For oxytocin, which is the connection. Yeah, that's the right word, I think. I always want to say oxycodone, I think. Anyway, oxy. Okay. It's the connection chemical. And that's things like you can cuddle your pets. You can get hugs from your friends. You can say thank you. Gratitude is a great way to release some oxytocin. Have deep conversations about meaningful things and not just about pleasantries. Listening, like I said, that's one I'm working on this year. Good eye contact with people. That is a way to actually release good, happy chemicals, connection chemicals in your body. Saying I love you to people, and then helping others. That will also do it. And that's kind of built into the free state model as well. So, join the free state. You can be healthier. All right, the last two, serotonin and endorphins. So for serotonin is your mood molecule. Things that can release serotonin for you is as simple as eating fruits, catching some morning sunlight, forest bathing. That's my favorite, right? Like, that's another cool thing about New Hampshire. The pine trees are actually anti-cancerous. And I did a whole show on it last year. I'm not going to remember all the technical terms. I'll see if I can remember and maybe drop a clip about it. But forest bathing, taking slow breaths. I think Alex thought I was nuts because I did step out right before the show. And I was like, I'm just going to do some breathing to like reinvigorate myself here. Herbal tea. Take your walks without headphones. Just switch off and listen to your mind. See what it's trying to tell you. Take deep sleep and naps. All of that will help your mood molecule, your serotonin. And then for brain boosters, that's where you kick in the endorphins. Things like singing in the car to the radio or singing with your friends, taking warm baths, nature hikes, stretching, doing a fast run. I'm not going to do that one, but I do like to dance in the kitchen, and that one is on the list. Lifting weights, and last but not least, hot saunas. You know, the heat and the cold, those two extremes can be really good for your health. And that is something, if you want true health in your life, you got to work for it. But the way to work for it is to adopt things as part of a lifestyle, as opposed to, oh, I need to do this thing, or it's for a resolution, or it's whatever. No, you want to make choices that then become your habits. So I'm going to leave you guys with this idea about panic juice. What's she talking about? I'm talking about the one you never hear about anymore, adrenaline. The one that most of you, if you doom scroll or spend too much time on social media, are addicted to. The one that is making you dysregulated as a human. Why don't we hear about adrenaline anymore? Because you can't sell panic juice. Everyone knows that adrenaline is bad for you. And when you realize that what the thing that is spiking in your body is adrenaline, that is a really good feedback loop to stop doing whatever you're doing. So I would suggest people start to focus on that as well, because when they spike your adrenaline, you become susceptible to the fear factor. And fear is how they force you into compliance. Fear is how you obey when you shouldn't. And fear is the one that we should fear. So I'm going to leave you guys with that for tonight. I am so appreciative to everyone who joined us. We are learning on the go. The goal over time is to make more useful content for all of you, but also to invite you into our studio to come tell your stories. So if that sounds interesting to you, please do reach out to me, Carla at carlagericke.com. And I'm going to say, I wish all of you peace, love, and understanding, and I'll see you back here again soon.